Hey guys, my name's Liana Ruppert. I am a senior editor over at Game & Film magazine and Game & Film online. I don't know why I feel the need to do that every single time, I'm sorry. But hi, it's been 2 weeks since my last video. I definitely got very emotional. Anybody that follows my coverage on Game Informer, I've been covering this closely. I've spoken with many developers at Activision Blizzard, and kind of honestly, just it made me spiral, to be very honest. And I'm not here to bring the vibes down. I made 3 videos since then, and all of them were incredibly negative. And even when I wasn't talking about anything about that, it was still just, you could tell it was just heavy on my noggin. And it's not conducive to anything. It doesn't help anything. I don't regret making that video because I think it's important people see how much it affects us, because that is not exclusive to Activision Blizzard. This is a wide, rampant issue, and it's not just an issue on the studio side. Media side has this too. I have my own stories with it, so it hit very close to home. I also worked with Blizzard. I used to run Overwatch social media over in Brazil, and it was just very personal. So thank you guys for who did watch and reached out after that video. I appreciate you. I don't want that to be my entire channel. I want to be a cool place and geek out and talk about serious issues. Absolutely. I have a couple of guidance videos. I don't want this channel to be one-dimensional, but I also don't want it to devolve into pure negativity either, because not everything is sunshine and roses, but not everything's shit either. And I know we're all struggling, and I'm struggling mentally, and I know I'm not alone. And so I just want to be a cool little place you can disappear to when you need it. So thank you guys for bearing with me. So we're gonna pivot, and we're gonna talk about Destiny, because Season of the Splicers epilogue happened earlier this week, and I fucking knew it. Okay, they didn't tell us who Savathun is yet, but I think it's pretty obvious, and I think a lot of my earlier theories were spot the fuck on. I'm just saying, I really do. And I cannot wait till the August 24th showcase, where they're going to be showing off the next season. Ooh, I almost said what the name was. The next season, and then they are going to be revealing more about Witch Queen from what they've said. So it's going to be interesting to see if that final part of my theory was right. Not the part about us being Savathun, because I really do think a lot of that was high brain from the Vicodin, because that was when I was at the hospital. But I'm pretty sure Osiris is a Savathun, and this is going to be very spoiler heavy if the epilogue. So if you have not watched the epilogue, if you have not played the epilogue, turn back now. That's your only warning. You're still here. Dope. So I wrote a piece about it on Game Informer, so if you don't want to watch this video and you want to read about it, feel free to do that. I basically am going to say the same thing here, just not word for word, because that's Game Informer's property. But I really love the fact that they are continuing on, because there was a huge Season of the Chosen, and we talked about this here on this channel too, parallel moment in Season of the Chosen that just really hit me right in the feels, and I loved it. And I was so enthralled with what the narrative team was doing, and to see them continue that on in Season of the Splicer has just been incredible. I really feel like Bungie has hit its stride. It struggled a lot at launch, and then the separation with Activision, that was a huge period of uncertainty, and I feel like now all the teams that just hit that sweet spot where they're all just working in tandem perfectly and all in sync. And I know many of the people over there, and they are all so creative and passionate, and I just yes, I'm here for it. So anyway, parallels. We're talking about parallels. There's a really cool parallel moment here in the Season of Splicer epilogue as well that I absolutely loved. If you remember earlier in the season, and I wrote about this too, about the mid-season cutscene where Minthrax and Saint 14 are talking, and he's like, you can't, Saint's like, you can't expect us to house and give all our resources when our own people are starving, and give it to the monsters. And we've killed a lot of Fallen in this game, and he's speaking from his own experience. And Minthrax, I love Minthrax as a whole. He's all, even in the face of just obscene amounts of hate, he's very level-headed, and he speaks truth, and he speaks in a way of from a place of authority, which I really admire and appreciate. And he very calmly tells Saint, like, oh, you want to hear about monsters? Let me tell you the story of the Saint. And the plot was, he details this massive, horrific massacre where a guardian comes sweeping in, slaughtering everything in its path, including fallen children, which now we know how cute fallen babies are. Women, children, everybody just coming into their homes and just slaughtering them. And it sounds like the premise of a horror movie. And then lo and behold, we see it's Saint 14, which we know as this like sweet, excitable character, badass too, don't get me wrong, but just not, you don't see him as a monster. And we all have the capability to have that monster in us. You know, sometimes we're the villain in another people's story. Whether we actually are the villain or not remains to be seen, but you know, you're not in charge of how other people's reactions are to you. And if they're telling you you were the villain in their story, you know, listen to that, because maybe there was something that could have been done to avoid that, or maybe they're just off the rocker. You know, you never know, but you can't know unless you have that conversation. And so Minthrax and Saint are having this conversation, and he's like, the Saint was our boogeyman. He was our monster. He's the person we tell our children about. And Saint just has this moment of like self-actualization, and you could tell it totally throws him for a loop. And through the weeks that followed, you could really see him kind of questioning everything. And Lakshmi's rhetoric about how we need to get rid of all of the fallen, you can see him push back against that slowly but surely, because revelations don't happen overnight. You got to dig deep and look at yourself, and that takes time. And for the epilogue, y'all, when I say I teared up and had chills, like I'm tearing up right now, it was so incredibly done. And the fact that, okay, so, but I'm getting ahead of myself. My bad. So basically the epilogue starts off where you're at the helm, and where we usually see Minthrax, and you hear, some people said they couldn't hear it. I heard it. A lot of other people heard it. I was playing with my partner. He never heard it. But there you could hear sirens at the tower, and you go down to the helm and to pick up this week's quest, and you can hear a broadcast from Lakshmi saying, you know, us in the future World, we herded all of the fallen, and we're gonna take them out once and for all because you're not heeding my warnings, and nothing about my vision of death and destruction changed, which is ironic because technically she was right, but what she didn't understand is she brought it on herself, because the end of the broadcast ends with her screaming and you can hear Saint in the background. So then the Guardian's like, shit, we gotta go, man. And, you know, we head over and do the final override, which is a new override completely. It was very different, and it was at the like sneak camp, and you see Saint and Minthrax standing side by side, and you know, Minthrax is like, no, you gotta go. It's not safe. And, you know, you go be with your people, protect your people. And Saint yells, he goes, you are my people. And it was just like tears, you guys, like tears. I can't. And Minthrax was like, you're my people. We'll tell our children about this day. And it would have been cool to see him pop a bubble, because I feel like that would have been really cool. But the parallel moment was, you know, the fallen are running to them for safety, and you're seeing fallen parents with their children, and one gets shot and like kind of falls. And in the same parallel, in the final scene of that cutscene I talked about earlier, where Saint's standing over him, but it's with the weapon to the kill shot. Well, this one, he's standing over him and reaches out, but it's to a hand of help, which is the same parallel we saw with Crow and Zavala last season, where Zavala was in Uldren Sov's position, standing over, reaching out to help, and the Crow was the one that needed the help. And that's a direct parallel to Forsaken DLC, when the Crow, who at that time was Uldren Sov, not the Crow, held his hand out to shoot Cade 6, which obviously kicked off the events of Forsaken. And those types of parallel moments are so incredible to me, because it really brings the story together. And I think that is something that Bungie has kind of struggled with in the past, of no cohesion and everything kind of feeling just a little bit too choppy and a little bit too disjointed. And they're finally finding how to do that flow, and that's a great way to do it, especially with the themes where, you know, Guardians right now, we're struggling with, well, are we the bad guys? Like, we're, you know, now we're harnessing darkness. There's been a lot of theories, there's been a lot of actions made by us that really kind of makes us question where we are, because there are no solely good people, there are no solely bad people. There are people with a lot of gray areas that can be interpreted differently depending on who you're talking to. And I think that's a very important point, because I've seen most of the reaction I've seen to this season's epilogue was very positive, but the few people have been like, nay, this sucks. I feel like they're not really paying attention. They're not looking at the lore, because the lore is very important here, but also that they're kind of just assuming anything that has any kind of meaningful message is SJW labeled, which is a little bit unfair, because we should be allowed to have real conversations and not be dismissed as being overreactive or emotional. And I think that this is just done really well. But what's heartbreaking for me, and for anybody that doesn't know, Saint 14 and Osiris are lovers, and they've been lovers for a very long time. And there's a moment, oh my god, I'm tearing up, stop that. There was a moment when they're like, you know, Akora drops in all badass with her smirk, like Akora got sassy, and I love it. I love seeing more of her personality, because I feel like she's been very muted up until this point, and that's not fair, because she's a really cool character. And we even see like Holiday whip out her weapon, like, hell yeah, let's do it, shoot motherfucker. And it was just incredible to see it all together. But there was one moment where they were like, where's Osiris? We can't find Osiris, because Laxmi, who is dead now, by the way, and you literally drive over her body, which is great. But they're looking for, you know, Laxmi says, Osiris helped me to gather them up, very much implicating like, oh my god, like what the hell is Osiris doing? Which is why I was saying in my last video about this that Osiris was acting mad sus. Keep that in mind. And Osiris is like, I can't find him. And like the way his voice actor is just, the small details and changes in inflection make or break a moment. And he nailed this scene so expertly that it really brought it all together. But when he's like, I can't find him, you can hear like the fear over his partner. You can hear the genuine fear in his voice. And it just made the whole thing more realistic. And then you look over the overpass, there's a figure standing up there watching these fallen get slaughtered, and then it's Osiris, and he's looking calmly as Saint's under attack, his lover is under attack, and with no emotion. And you know, this is a character that we've known to be very benevolent and fair and genuinely caring, and so to see him look at his partner under attack and just not seemingly care, y'all, if it's not Savathun, if he's not Savathun, because we already know Savathun's walking through the city too. This was confirmed a while ago. Savathun assumed somebody familiar in the city. We didn't know who. But I knew. I've been new. I don't actually know. Bungie hasn't told me anything, but I've been saying for weeks, y'all, that Osiris is Savathun. And if that ending cutscene doesn't like confirm that, I don't. It was just really well done. And, you know, now everything's changing. I love, you know, there's been some pushback too, because, you know, Akora mentions that that's basically the end of the factions, which a lot of us loved the factions in Destiny 1, Destiny 2, but I personally love that they're doing this, because I feel like Bungie's giving itself a clean slate, because we know that they canceled plans for Destiny 3 because they saw a lot more opportunity for Destiny 2 now that they have kind of found that groove. And I think that's an important decision to make. That's a hard decision to make. And they're now implementing a lot of the things they had planned for Destiny 3 into Destiny 2. They also have a completely new seasonal mission, which is nice, that is just the teams collaborating together and looking at the lore and looking at the message they want to tell. And I'm excited. And I feel like by shedding some of the things that could have potentially shackled them without retconning, I think it's gonna be a good thing for the community. I really do. I feel like they're giving themselves a clean slate. They're giving themselves permission to kind of go ham and do what they want with the story. And that's what we've been wanting. You know, the grind is a part of it, but when it's only the grind, then that's the issue. And Season of the Chosen and Season of the Splicer has really done a good job at finding that balance between the two aspects of a live service game. And I feel like there's a little bit more room for improvement, but they're not going to get there if they don't lay the groundwork. Because if it's too abrupt of a change, then there's going to be a lot of pushback from that as well. As a lot of us have been playing since the beginning of Destiny 1. And if you do too much too soon, then it can break that what the community fell in love with to begin with. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited to see what happens. I have a theory that, so I think, and this is not confirmed, I think Osiris is a Savathun, but I think Osiris might still be alive. And I'm hoping, because I always loved Osiris's and Saint's interactions. And it's funny, before it was confirmed that they were a couple, I always shipped them because I just love their chemistry together as characters. I think It's phenomenal. It's why I ship Hawthorne and Cade 6. Like, I just love their chemistry together. And so when they confirmed it, I was like, yeah, I knew it. Hell yeah. Happiness. Like, these people deserve some happiness, damn it. And I think that this is going in a really cool direction, but I'm also really scared because I love Saint and I want him to be happy, and just hearing the genuine pain in his voice. And there was a smaller cutscene earlier in the season where it was Lakshmi, Osiris, and Saint, and like you could tell Saint was very uncomfortable with the conversation. Like, Lakshmi was trying to get Saint over to their side, and he kind of looks over at Osiris, and Osiris is like, do it. Like, why did I make him sound Hispanic? Do it, say. I can't do accents. This is why I'm not a voice actor. And you could kind of tell that, like, Saint kind of was taken aback by that. Like, do you not care that this is hurting me? I don't want to hurt the Fallen. I just found out this horrible thing about how they see me, and I'm trying to process this, and then you want me to kill them? The fuck? It's so meaningful and impactful, and I feel like they are really setting the stage hard for when Witch Queen arrives. You know, they had that art that people were associating with old Chicago. There's just a lot of aspects that it leads to a lot of fan theories. Are there any returning characters? Because the ghost we saw, I'm just saying. But that also brings the question of, okay, well, if Osiris is a Savathun, when did that swap happen? I have a theory that it was around the time when his ghost was killed. You know, I don't know if you guys remember this scene, but when, what was her name? Segura. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Segura? Anyway, when his ghost died, I feel like, when Osiris's ghost died, I feel like that is maybe could be the moment, possibly. Because then there's the concern of, well, how long has he been taken over? Because in Season of the Chosen, he was very kind and helpful and genuinely seemed to be looking out for the Crow. But then Crow was hearing Savathun's song, so maybe that was all a part of the big plan. And he was hurting the Crow to be hurting him, not hurting, like cows hurting Crow into a position it's easier to manipulate, maybe? I don't know. I have like a billion fan theories, and only about 2 of them make sense. But I'm enthralled. Like, I don't know how people who are actively playing the game can say it's lackluster at this point in time, because it is so intricate. Like, I remember, you know, when Destiny 2 first came out, and I would read the Lord cards, and I was like, cool, you know, this is nice backstory, but I didn't feel a drive to find them and to read them and to really take them in. And now I'm like eating them up. Like, I want to complete every mission, every hidden mission. I want to 100% flaw anything that gets me more lore cards. I've been like hungry for them, and that's what I want. I'm a lore lover in games, so to make me hungry for that lore is just, it's beautiful. Chef's kiss, you know? It's great. I love it. Love that for us. I don't know where they're going to go with it, but I'm really excited. And I love seeing the developers' reactions, because when the epilogue hit, like, the reactions were instantaneous and, again, wildly positive. And when you look at Destiny 2's launch and the year subsequent after the launch, it was just dead game. Oh my God, what the hell are you doing? You know, there were all the microtransaction issues when it was found out that, like, actual gear was being locked, gear that should have been dropped, and kind of bordering on pay to win. And then they removed that. You know, they learned a lot of the stuff, and they ended a lot of the stuff that was also imposed by Activision, which was the publisher of Destiny 2. They since broke up a long time ago. That's long history. And you can see that the change of that. And I have a video of this, so I'm not going to go too deep into that because I've already talked about that in another video, but I'm loving that we're finally getting the fruits of that labor. And I feel like Season of the Chosen really kicked it off very strongly and perfectly. And Season of the Splicer, because I did say this when I did the video talking about Season of the Chosen, I'm like, I just hope this isn't a one-off thing. I hope they didn't just kind of stumble into the magic and then we're going to go back to the normal grind. And I'm really glad we didn't. They hit their stride, you guys. I'm so excited. If anybody is interested in getting back into Destiny, I have a really awesome clan. We're mostly on PC, but if not, I can I'll hop on with you, and crossplay's coming next season, so I will hop on with you if you would like to get back in. My clan's really great about serping people through raids for the first time, or getting them caught up on the things they need to be caught up on. There's also a really cool Ladies of Destiny group that I'm in, which is nice because sometimes you do want to just talk to other women, just like I'm sure you want to talk to just other guys sometimes. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. Same thing with this, just a little haven. But it's nice because we have teenagers in there, and we also have, like, one woman is like, I think 83. There's just such a wide swath. We have women that can flawless anything they need, like they're just badass and like max power level, like super easily. And then we have the people that don't even know what a shader is, and I love that because there's no judgment. And everybody's just been really sweet and helpful. In the entire time I've been in that group, because I've left almost every group I've been a part of. That's one of the few I'm still in. And anytime I've even seen somebody that I know for a fact would have been like, oh my god, what a dumb question, in other groups, we're like, oh yeah, let me help you out. Like, here it is. And just the support is awesome. So any ladies watching, hello, welcome. Let me get you that link, because they are a really cool, positive group. It's great. So I'm excited. I want to hear your guys' theories. You know, there's so many theories about Savathun. There's so many theories about the fourth wall breakage, which there's already a video of that. There's so many theories regarding just almost every aspect of Destiny 2. So feel free to drop those in the comments, because I want to hear your thoughts, because we need to talk about Destiny. I don't know why I'm singing, but here we are. I've already committed. But I'm genuinely excited for what's next in the next season, and I hope you guys are too. Drop those theories in the comments. Let's chat. Thank you guys so much for being a part of my channel. I know I'm notoriously bad for responding. So for me, for those that don't know, I work in Game Informer, but I work a lot of jobs, and I also work as an accessibility consultant with epilepsy in games. And a lot of those developers that I'm working with are in like Japan. So like I'm constantly always working. So in my head, sometimes I have responded, because I read every single thing. Don't get me wrong. I read every comment, but I'll be like in a meeting or something, and I'll be like, okay, I'll respond to this after. And in my head, I already responded. And so I just don't want you to take that as I don't care, because I do. You guys honestly are my sanity. So thank you for being here. And yeah, I appreciate you guys very much, and I hope to get back on a more regular. I was doing good for a little bit, being consistent release schedule. I want to get back to that. I really just needed to take a little break from my mental health, because talking to hundreds of employees and covering this, I've written many stories about this. I fought with Activision Blizzard's PR numerous times, and it's just been very stressful and very scary. And very just mentally draining and heartbreaking, honestly. So I appreciate you guys giving me the chance to do that too, and just take that break for me. You guys are awesome. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.